Welcome to the Wildside, where bad movies get the love they deserve. And today we're talking about Stain Helsing, directed by Bo Zinga. And if you don't know who that is, that he wrote and directed both Scary Movie 1 and 2.
Back when they were good.
Back when they were good, the only two good ones. But this movie, y'all had no idea what this movie was going in, did y'all?
Nope.
I had no idea.
So I'm the only one that has seen this movie before.
Yeah, this is my first time.
Same with me. And I'm kind of glad I didn't look it up. Wanted it to be a surprise. I thought it would be like a, I knew it was a parody movie, but I thought it'd be one of those that was made like in the 80s or something like that. like around the same time as like Mel Brooks movies.
You thought it was going to be more along the lines of like Mel Brooks or something.
Yes. I did say Mel Brooks, right?
Yeah. To be fair, this movie and the first two scary movies are much more along the lines of Mel Brooks than any a modern parody movie has been. So, like, they're very slapstick. The only difference is they're much more on the sexual jokes. Well, Mel Brooks was too, but he didn't heavily rely on them.
He just
put them in there.
He did more stuff that would offend more people today.
Yeah, because it's funny.
Yeah, I know, and people are too uptight lately.
I'll plot crunch this movie real quick. This is pretty much my every Saturday night for myself. This is the kind of stuff I get into every Saturday night in this entire movie. No, it's about a group of friends that are just trying to get to a Halloween party, but they're having to drop off some movies at before they can get there. But one of them is just a laid-back, lazy loser dude. So basically, the ultimate hipster, and then realizes he has a great destiny that he has to fulfill. And shenanigans ensue, Wild Man style.
Oh, yeah.
Beat that.
Is that a challenge?
I guarantee you won't.
Respect my authority.
So,
all right, go ahead.
I was just going to tell you to kick us off.
Okay, then. The movie starts off with Stan Helsing, an underachieving employee, at a reference to Schlockbuster.
This is how the whole movie is. Like, every scene has just layers upon layers of stuff that you have to break down. So we might skip some things because it's just super, super, yeah.
Yep. And the word go, everything's a reference to something else in this movie. It does have a few actual titles, but there's plenty of like mockbuster stuff. Even naughty videos that are parodies off of good movies.
See, I remember as a kid, there were adult sections in video stores.
Yeah, there was with my Blockbuster, too.
We get introduced to Stan Helsing, the underachieving employee at the video rental store. He's just trying to go about his business when his teenage boss is asking him to kill a cockroach, which is where one of the first shenanigans shows up. While complaining, Stan goes to the bathroom with a giant fly swatter, and we see a range of all kinds of jokes. Because it's Halloween, there's two costumed hotties making out in one of the stalls, and apparently if he didn't scare them, they would have invited him.
Story of my life.
And then there's the first batch of toilet humor. Thankfully, the examples in the movie, most up to the imagination.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of toilet humor in this one, thank God.
And like the last stall, we see the cockroach. And it's a biggie.
Oh, yeah, no, this cockroach is freaking human size.
Yeah.
And it just, like, apparently, the impression I got, it just explodes on him, shall we call it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I don't care what it was. I don't care what it wasn't. All I know, it was gross.
It was
and I felt bad for Stan.
Although he cleaned up quite well with those feminine tampons. He's like, oh, these things are so absorbent. I should get a bunch of them and do my dishes with them.
And just when Stan thinks he can relax, his boss gives him a bag of movies that apparently Stan promised to drop off to his boss's mother's. I think that's how it was.
Yeah,
right?
it was to his boss's mother. This is where we get introduced to my favorite character in this entire movie, and y'all would be like, "Of course, this is your favorite character." We get introduced to Stan's best friend, Teddy, which is Keenan from Keenan and Kel, dressed up as Black Superman. His ex-girlfriend, dressed up as an Indian girl, because he's dressed up as a cowboy. And then Teddy's date, I don't even remember her name, just blonde bimbo. A blonde hottie bimbo. And, like, she is my favorite character in this entire movie. She has all the best scenes.
Her name is May.
Mia.
Sorry. Mia.
She has some of the best jokes in this movie revolve around her. She has some of the best scenes. And like I still fantasize about chicks like this.
I know you do.
So basically we got the now you summed it up, like the best friend, the ex-girlfriend, and the ditzy blonde.
And here's the thing, audience. I'm not fantasizing about a ditzy blonde. It's the kind of stuff she does and that she's into that I'm like, yes, give me. Let's put it like that.
Going to her backstory, because that's the best.
Oh yeah, apparently she was a stripper turned masseuse. Mm-hmm. And she's like, same thing. One you're dancing, the other one you're whacking people off. I'm like, I love you.
So part of the adventure begins. They're all dressed up for the Halloween party, but Stan mentions that he has to make a stop so he can drop off those videos. At first, everyone's like, do we really have to? Like, okay, where is it? Apparently, it's the exact opposite direction of their party. Right before they say, forget it, Stan, he says, okay, I guess if I can't do this, I won't get paid, and I can't give you the money that I owe you guys. You don't want that money.
Which lovely that their all friendship revolves around the money.
Well, that's how most friendships are.
Not ours. Ours revolves around your fear of me. No, I'm kidding. Really? No laugh at all? Okay, fine. There you go.
No, I was laughing.
No play off of that. Okay, fine. I see how it is. I see what kind of friends y'all are.
If it makes you feel better, you can edit a laugh track.
Wow, that joke fell flat. Okay.
Guy stings.
Oh, that's not. He didn't do anything to deserve that yet.
But like no, like our friendship doesn't revolve around money. Our friendship revolves around the genuine care we have for each other.
Yeah, the abuse. You mean the abuse?
Well, there's that too. Besides, like, I still have your cage in the corner that you have to go and sleep in tonight.
See, abuse, ladies and gentlemen.
And then Decker, since he's second in command of the channel, he gets to sleep in the hanging cage from the ceiling.
Ladies, don't date this man. He's dangerous.
Don't worry, everyone. The abuse is mutual.
Yeah, I'll be losing my hair pretty soon because of these people.
If you don't make us lose ours first.
So it's a contest.
Anybody's can go at this rate.
So, what happens first? Like, they hit a dog, right? That's the first thing that happens, right?
And that's the first thing. We start seeing like a bunch of references to like scary movie figures.
Oh yeah.
Like what?
So a lot of the monsters parodies of like Freddy Krueger, Michael, Michael Myers, Pinhead, and Chucky, are all like show up at Stan's workplace looking for him, and like they're like, oh, he's not here, and then so they just go start wandering the streets looking for him. That's when Stan notices a doll in the car driving next to them, and it's freaking parody of Chucky, momming a BJ and then like smacking his butt in the window, and Stan just flips. And none of them believe him. None of them in the car believes what he's saying. Oh, so like to calm down, he lights a doobie and has everyone smoke it, and then it's just as they're like chilling out and unwinding because of it, they hit a dog. So they hit a dog, but they thought it was a baby bear, and like my favorite character goes out to like try and help it, and she's like, "Don't worry, I'm a medical professional," and she gets out, she's like, "Massages aren't medicine." And they're like, the other girl is like,
Nadine.
huh?
Is that her name? Is that her name, Nadine? I actually got it.
So like she's like, who's gonna go out there with her? The guys are just like remaining silent, and she's like, fine, and she gets out, and Dan's like, okay, we gotta go out there with them. Teddy's like, no, we don't. And they're like, they're gonna call us pussies if we don't. And he's like, okay. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube.
Nah, it's just another word for sissy, wuss, chicken. Context matters, folks.
Yeah, because that is that is what they use it for. Anyway, so like they approach it. She's like trying to massage it back to health. And that's when the guy pulls up and they're trying to get him to help. And like, lo and behold, it's the dog's owner. And he's just like flipping out. But it's like, I said, like, isn't that, are they trying to make him a parody of Lance Henderson's character from Pumpkinhead? And like the way he acts, the way he's talking and glaring at him is what made me think that. And like how he just picks up the dog and all. That's what made me think that.
Yeah.
So,
Dean Pumpkinhead myself, it's pretty accurate.
It is.
Like he's caring over Sammy Boy, the dog, like it's his own son, and he's vowing revenge.
That was a great scene, and one of my favorites. I was laughing so hard. Again, because it also involves my favorite character, so... So they get out of there, and they pull up to a gas station and start to get their stuff cleaned up.
Don't forget the hitchhiker.
Oh yeah, they pick up the hitchhiker after that.
The hitchhiker, okay. They as they're going, they're picking up a hitchhiker, and then they find out that the hitchhiker just literally escaped out of prison and is a convicted murderer.
Murdering nurses.
And so like they kick him out, like they tell him they have weed behind him in the trunk and just reach for it. They open up the back of the trunk and kick him out.
While it's moving.
Yeah. And so that's when they decide we got to get some gas and some snacks because Munchies has hit. And so they go to this gas station, and like the lady is like busting their chops for no reason. And like they go into the station, this big old Indian guy. And yes, I said Indian because I am part Indian, so I can get away with that. Back off. Every Indian that I've known in my life has never said, we prefer the term Native American. They've all told me, just call us Indian.
Yeah.
And a lot of them were legit full-blooded Indians. If they can say that, I can say it because they told me to.
The only people who will tell you that are a bunch of white folk who don't know shit.
Anyway, so this big hulking old Indian dude is catering to them, and he's like, you're Van Helsing. He's like, no, what? No, I'm Stan. My name's Stan Helsing. This joke will be repeated throughout the movie. And, like, he just picks up this huge book and, like, slams it down in front of him and opens it up to a page of, like, this sketch of this dude that looks a lot like him, and with this scar of, like, VH on his chest. And, like, that doesn't look like me. Actually, Stan, yeah, it kind of does. Just, he looks like you, but with better hair. And my favorite character comes back from the bathroom with an outfit change. She was wearing what was she wearing before?
What was she wearing before? I think a nurse.
No, the nurse outfit was her last the last outfit of the movie. Anyway, I don't remember what she was wearing before, but she's changed into like a schoolgirl outfit, and she's like, she literally says, and I quote, "Be honest. Does my vagina make me look fat?" And Keenan and Teddy and Stan just like are automatically like flipping their lids, like, oh yeah, and like dancing around and like and all this like extravagant mannerisms and all that, and it's just like losing their minds, and then all of a sudden just cuts to them just standing still, as if to say that's what they wanted to do, but they decided not to. Mm-hmm. And like, Stan just grabs the keys from her. He's like, no, I can't see your vagina at all, but I'd like to, and just walks off. And she's like, how sweet. Mm-hmm. I love this. And so he goes to the bathroom, and he's like doing his business, and all of a sudden we see this eye, which is so obviously the Indian old man, just look at him as he's doing his business, and like Stan's like starting to hear this like Indian chant going on. He's like, what the fuck?
With drums and everything.
Yeah, drums and as well. He's like, what the frick? And he's like, he's slowly looking, and like it just looks like it just shows the guy staring right back at him, looking up. He's like, ah. Both run out. And Stan's like, runs out into the open, and it shows the Indian guy coming out too. He's like, you were peeping at me in the bathroom. He's like, and I love this dude's reaction. He's like, no, I was not.
Mm-hmm. Like the same was not. Like mannerisms. Like, I'm caught. I'm trying to deny it.
Continue for me, Decker.
So right before that. So, like, they're ready to get out of there, but the crazy hippie lady from earlier, like, she pulls out a shotgun, keeping them from leaving, saying, you still owe me $40 for the gas. And then Keenan pulls out, like, the money from his, like, a Superman belt. It's one of those costumes where he doesn't have pockets, so he has to, like, open up the pants. He's like, here is my secret stash. And everybody gets in after he gives them money. I forget like what sets her off. She basically scares them off by firing a shot. Everyone gets in the van except
she was
for
defending the Indian
so
guy.
Scared. Like, get in, man!
He's like,
it takes his time. and they drive away. It's easy to miss, but there's a sound effect that basically says she fired the other shot, even though you barely see her like swing the gun upward. There was no like flash or anything like that.
The sound effects in this movie are so amazing because they just add to the goofiness. And like there's like stuff you would see hear in a cartoon or something, and it's so funny how they do it.
So our heroes, in big quotation marks, but also endearment.
Oh, they're my heroes. I'll tell you that right now.
I said endearment too. They finally get to their stopping point, the stormy United States. They have a funny conversation with the guy watching the gate. After a couple jokes, the guy at the gate lets them in. Sorry, I'm debating on whether. I guess we'll go back to them because like there's some funny jokes, but it's not like ruining the story if I don't say anything. Long story short, after they get in, they figure out, hey, wait a minute. Those people didn't fill the gas at all. They probably siphoned it.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, and then they go to the local bar.
with Leslie Nielsen playing an old lady.
Yep. And just a little bit of trivia for people who are watching. This is Leslie Nielsen's last movie before his passing.
That's right, it was.
Yep.
It wasn't a bad role to go out on.
Yeah, he went out with a bang, all right. This is the movie that definitely has his name all over it. That he would.
It is totally a movie he would be in.
Have you ever seen a plane before? Yeah. Have you ever seen a naked man before?
Going back to the guy at the guy that was at the gate, I did want to mention like some of the jokes revolved around him. Oh, there is some story stuff. He tells like the history of the town, Stormy United States. Apparently, it used to be a movie studio that made all kinds of horror movies until a fire caused the whole place to burn down. Apparently, this year or even this day, it was the anniversary of when the fires burnt the place down. And 10 years later, they made the gated community that we see today. Throughout the exposition, the gatekeeper is getting phone calls from people in the community, and like you hear random sound effects, and like a lot of them revolve around tropes from horror movies. Like a guy's asking, like, "Hey, I'm having trouble with my chainsaw," and like you hear like a woman screaming in the background.
Yeah.
It's like just put some WD-40 and like.
We don't hear anything of the other side of the conversation. Just what the old man is saying. All we hear is stock scream sound effects. And then he responds to them as if they were having an actual conversation. It's great.
Okay, now back to the bar. Would you like to go to Uzumaki?
Yes. This is when they reach the bar. Okay. They find a local bar and meet the townspeople, and they're in a bad attempt of karaoke while singing Johnny Cash's "Ring of Fire" in the worst way possible.
And I don't think this is them actually singing either.
I know.
I think they were lip syncing most of it.
I think what's supposed to be them singing is actually people being
Dubbed over.
Dubbed over it.
And based on the audience's reaction, apparently this was too soon. They admit to liking Johnny Cash. They are still sensitive about the topics of fire and burning and all that bad stuff.
Yeah.
Silent Hill is too.
So, after they leave, they discover that all the citizens, including the waitress, Kay, was that her name? Kay? I think so.
Yes, that's Leslie Nielsen's character.
And we discover that they were actually dead due to a massive fire that consumed the town 10 years earlier.
In case anyone needed a reminder that ghosts tend to hold grudges.
Oh yeah.
They keep saying that the place is cursed. They're not really staying there by choice. It's a curse.
Yeah, it's a curse. Also, they encounter several monsters, including the living doll they encountered earlier. And also, they encounter Pinhead, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and Michael Myers.
No. Hold on. We gotta break that down a little bit because like they're not
parodies.
They're parodies. Jason Voorhees is a hockey player. Pinhead has all sorts of different pins, from like dart pins to like tool pins to syringes all stuck in his head. They're not just pins.
Michael Myers is a Jew. Michael Myers
is a Jew. And
they give him a big nose, and they give him a little white hat that they wear.
And
Leatherface.
Leatherface is using an electric leaf blower.
Leaf blower. Oh dear God.
Here are the names of all those the spoof characters.
Go for it.
Mason, the spoof of Jason Voorhees, And I think the T-shirt even has has the hockey mask, has the letters NJ, as in not Jason. Weddy, spelled Fwedd.
Yeah, he's like some sort of like he is very much a knock on a Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
He's basically he's supposed to be like a rapper or something.
Yeah, he's got like bling. He's got an oversized watch, making fun of like the gold chains.
The gold chain.
He is very much making fun of Flavor Flav with all that too. The size of the watch is very much Flavor Flav. It's very, very funny.
Yeah.
And it's been a while since I've seen Flavor Flav, but the shirt that Freddy wears, I don't know if it's a coincidence or not. It looks like an orange Charlie Brown shirt.
Yeah.
I think that was the intention. Oh, and Jason was the best one.
Mm-hmm.
No. Leatherface. Leatherface was the best one. I forgot what name they gave him.
Instead of Leatherface, his is Pleatherface.
Leatherface.
For the name for fake leather.
Yeah.
What about Chucky?
Chucky is Lucky.
Lucky.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, Lucky the doll.
They should have put Leprechaun in this movie and named him that.
Oh, that was a missed opportunity.
That was, yeah.
Oh well. Well, it was kind of a spook, not a parody. It was a comedy horror anyway. So I don't know. Maybe it would have been too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
So the last two, Pinhead. This version is called Needlehead.
Needle.
The last one,
Needlehead.
Instead of Michael Myers, it's Michael Cryers.
And didn't like his uniform say Mikey?
Mikey, yeah, it was. It was Mikey instead of Nike.
Oh, and while there's no specific character spoofing them, more than one character actually made reference a lot. The first Jeepers Creepers.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. They
Instead of that big truck that he has or that van,
He has
that
a
armored-
18-wheeler.
practically an armored vehicle. We have like a big rig that's that's full of dead bodies on meat hooks, which is being driven by Pleatherface.
yeah.
And there's a scene with Michael Cryers throwing a dead body down one of those drain pipes.
Which
That's
leads to one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie.
I know what you mean.
Maybe not a scene, but one of my favorite sequences. Shall we say? This is that entire scene. It feels like something that I would write. But
it's one that you would write, but you had no one to hold you back. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't have you to keep me on my leash. Because I'm always making sure, in secret, I'm always like, hey, Decker, I didn't cross the line with this thing, did I? Whenever I make something that I'm not quite sure about, I let you look at it, I'm like, I didn't cross the line. And, the last couple of ones that I did that with, you're like, no, you didn't cross the line, but you were right there on the line. I was like, okay, but I didn't cross it. Okay, good, we can do it then.
No. You were standing there waving to everybody, but you didn't cross it.
But was this scene before or after the bar scene where they're in the graveyard?
This was after the bar.
The graveyard was after the bar?
Oh no, the graveyard was after they ran out of gas.
Oh yeah.
Before the bar.
That was okay.
I thought it was. Sorry, I only watched it once, so my mind still.
I know it is a mind. It is a mind trip, isn't it? I almost said something else. But it is isn't it?
I wouldn't call it a mind screw because I came out of it safe enough.
No, it didn't. It didn't mess up my mind like those stupid art house films.
No, I saw. Okay, without going into a lot of detail that I can tell you all about later, because I told Decker about it before we started. I did see a movie earlier today that is pretty much a mind screw, shall we say. It screwed me up a little bit. I was like, huh.
Was it an art house film?
No, it was more of an indie film. But it it was a Lovecraft style film. The whole movie takes place inside of a bathroom. But like there's a cosmic monster in the stall next to him talking to him.
Okay.
I would just have to have y'all watch it, alright? Like the movie is called Glorious.
Glorious?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like, oh, 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 like, kind of like that. So we skipped over one of my sequences, and again, audience, this movie is so disjointed and like it's a very very enjoyable, laugh out loud movie, but because of how it's structured and how zany it is, we are getting confused with the sequences of events because of how it's structured. So I ask that you bear with us because we do apologize, but this scene was just too funny, at least for me, to skip. So we're backtracking ever so slightly. They're in this graveyard and they're all looking around like kind of like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, it cuts to this crow that says, "Nevermore." That sounds familiar. You're an idiot. That too. And then it goes, "Spit on it. How much do I owe you? And get out of here." He's like, 3 in a row. Something is weird here. I was laughing so hard at that.
Oh. I unfortunately didn't get the joke. I want to see if you guys got it. During that same scene when they're in the graveyard, the pet cemetery.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, all the dates are on October 31st. That 19. Oh, stupid!
You're just now getting it?
It's because I thought it was related to something like the year 1999 threw me off, and I thought it was related to Pet Cemetery, not Halloween.
Oh, October 31st?
Yes.
Oh.
That's funny.
Stop it! Stop it!
So I don't think that was actually Pet Cemetery or a reference to Pet Cemetery per se. I think that's what we were automatically just thinking due to the Rottweiler scene.
Yeah, it was.
And it's like, oh, they all died on Halloween. Sadly, this is a regular thing for me. Not too often, but often enough to where I facepalm. I'll just say that.
So, gosh, we're not even halfway through this movie. Crap.
You can tell them what happened. Your favorite scene.
Yeah, we do actually. So after all that, cutting from that scene, they do run in and see Michael Myers
ripping off Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, and throw a dead body down a
drainage pipe.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happens is like they're trying to like look down there, but they don't have a light to see. So like Blondie just like pulls a flashlight out from her cleavage and like hands it to Stan. And he like turns it on, then points the light on her cleavage, then goes and looks down the drain pipe and drops it down there. Like, wait, does he drop it down there or does she throw it down there?
No, she first pulls out the flashlight when the place hits midnight, and like that's when the curse is active. When like all the people who were alive, that's when they're dead bodies again. Mm-hmm. The point is, the flashlight is first brought up when they look inside the bar after midnight, and that's when they find everybody dead.
And that's where they run into Pyramid Head. What? Pinhead. It's so bad, Samuel.
How he appears is also a parody of how the Cenobites.
It's a very much parody of the Lament Figuration box. Instead of coming out of like a puzzle box, he comes out of Teddy's burger box.
It was like the last one that he saved, and it like starts shaking. It's like something's going on, so he drops it, and then poof comes a Needlehead. He's like prepared to die, mortals, and they run off. and they're trying to get away, and that's when they see Jewish Michael Myers.
Okay, that's
probably
when.
down the drainage, and that's when and that's how they lose the flashlight. They try to look Stan. They're trying to look inside. Stan asks for the flashlight again, but for some reason, either due to Blondie's idiocy or because everyone was clumsy, she tries to throw the flashlight at Stan, and it falls down the drainage pipe. Then shenanigans ensue.
I love this sequence. It's so great. It's very much. I watched this. I was like, I would write this, but so she tries to grab it, and like she's talking to the guy that was just thrown down there. And she's like, "Excuse me, sir, can you throw us our flashlight? I know you're really tied up right now," and because he's literally tied up, and like, yeah, but can you please throw us our flashlight? And like she starts to fall down the tube, and like Stan grabs her, and he falls down, and so Teddy and the other chick grab his legs to hold them up. He just like cuts to like Stan looking up her skirt, like, or all we're seeing is his reaction. He's like, "Damn!" And he's like, and he just turns to the camera. And he's like, "I think this deserves a reverse POV shot." And it just cuts to looking up her skirt, and we see her everything. We see underwear. We see everything. It just cuts back to Stan. He's like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Wait, uh-oh." Because the mouse is starting to appears and like is right next to her underwear. And she's like, it's tickling her. And she's like, "Stop it!" And then it goes deeper, and she's like, and she starts to like get off, and he's like, right there, and then it just moves. And runs past her, and she looks, and she's like, "Wait, come back."
I wasn't finished.
And then like Uzumaki's like, no, and as this is happening, Uzumaki is just sitting there going like, no, ew, I couldn't hit that. And I'm just like, I could.
It's a major turnoff for me, ladies and gentlemen.
I was just like, I could hit that. I would hit that.
I will just say I understand both your perspectives and say nothing more.
So, where do you stand on that? So,
if it walks and it has two legs, of course you would hit that.
I am an animal. So, Taker, where do you stand on this situation? What would you do, yay or nay?
I already said my piece. I will say nothing more.
You son of a.
Hey, someone's got to be the middle ground.
It's okay. Crazy has more fun. But so like at this point,
like something causes her to slip, yeah, right?
No, like they decide to get her down there in the pipe too to like help them reach the bottom of it so they don't get hurt or something. And to lower them down gently, and so all three of them are being held by the ankles from each other, and the last one in line is Teddy holding them from the top side. He suggests that, and she's like, "You're not going to look up my skirt, are you?" He's like, No, yes. And so she does it.
He's like, at least you're being honest.
But they all end up falling down the pipe anyway, and this is another thing I was like, yes! So Blondie falls down on all fours, and apparently she has no underwear because apparently somehow that got taken off of her. I forgot how that did happen, but I forgot how exactly. It's not really explained either, other than like Teddy was smelling it, which way to go, good for you, Burrow. But I just want to say that that comment does not reflect something I would do. I am joking around. I do have standards, as few as they are.
Don't worry, people. We've been around Wildy long enough. He's being honest. He does have standards.
Surprisingly.
No. Y'all are so sweet. But, So she falls down on all fours. She's getting back up. Well, Stan falls on top of her, but like they're essentially in the doggy position, essentially.
Oh,
I don't know what else to call it, because that's exactly what it is.
It's made by the same people as Scary Movie 1 and 2. It's not that surprising.
But this is where a lot of those sound effects come into play. Because, like, all of a sudden, he gets, it's implied that he hit home base, shall we say. And, like, they're like, you see it on her face, she's like, oh. And he's like, oh. But, like, he essentially pulls out of her, and you hear, like, this like, suction-y pop sound. And then, like, the other chick falls on top of him, causes him to get back in, and then Teddy falls on top of her. So, like, it's like a domino effect. And then, like, Teddy's just, like, grabbing on to other chick's breasts and just wiggling around, and you hear this, like, wiggle, 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 wiggle sound. He's like, as he's wiggling, he's, like, looking around all over the place, like, where are we? What's going on here? Where is this place? What is this place? And she's like, I don't know, but, your hands are on my boobs. And he's like, oh, sorry. And then all of a sudden, this, like, sound. It's really funny.
Don't worry, like somehow the sound effects make it less crude.
Yeah, it makes it.
It's crude, but it's somehow the sound effects help.
The sound effects make it more cartoony.
Yes,
because like there's sound effects you would hear in a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So like they're looking around, and they see this body, essentially, like this guy that's like essentially almost at death's door, and they're talking to him, and all of a sudden Jewish Michael Myers appears right behind them, and like they scatter, and then they it just cuts to them coming out of the sewers and at the doors of a church. And Decker, take it away.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the priest. or no,
the altar boy.
Not.
He's almost a priest. He's so close to being a priest. My uncle would have so many problems with this scene.
There's like so many times I wanted to reference Guru's line from DBZ Abridged. But there was no way to make it fit. The line was like, the punchline is basically, "Do I look Catholic to you?"
I was thinking of like when Dende left, and like Guru's still talking to Dende, but he left, and like Nails tells him that, and he's like, and just cuts to Guru like is still shocked, and he's like, and just goes like, "That slut." I hear that and I still crack up. I'm gonna make that a soundbite.
Mm-hmm. So in the church, they finally get to the church to hide away from all the monsters. And like some of the characters are commenting about how beautiful the place is. You hear like you hear that classic da-da-da, 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 like that music that like Dracula or Phantom of the Opera plays. And of course the two ladies at the piano are kissing. To the tune of "Take Me Out to the Ball Game."
Here's the thing, it was hard to tell from that angle, but it looked like they were like conjoined twins, because it looked like they were sharing, like their clothes were connected.
Okay, I could see that. I had to see it again to be sure, but you could be right too.
But I think that again, it was hard to tell from that angle, but I think that's what that was. That's when the altar boy comes.
They asked the altar boy, who's a little too good at sneaking up behind people. Ask him for help.
He's like, "Oh, you're a cute one." Mm-hmm. Doing snide remarks like that all throughout the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Like when you first get interactions with him, he's kind of like, "Oh, I know what I was trying to say." One of the lines that I didn't want to skip was, like, "Hey man, can you hide us?" I think Teddy says that. He's like, I can hide the girls. I don't think I hide you. I mean, I can help you guys." This is like the third or fourth mention that Stan is basically a descendant of Van Helsing. He keeps like he's denying it once again. And the preacher, I mean altar boy, why are you denying this? Like, some people are born into greatness. Some achieve it. Some have it thrust upon them. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
He's just like, are you sure you're not a priest? I'm this close to being a priest. So he leads them, was it the basement of the church, or was it just the back room of the church?
I guess the back room of the church.
So he's leading them to like this back room, and he's like, and he walks up to this chest, and he's like, behold, and he just sings like, holy chest of mystery, and it just zooms into the brunette chest, which I will say is very much a beautiful chest. And like a bright light is on it, and they're all looking at it, and like the blonde is just like, wow. And she's just like, wow, in amazement. And then the altar boy just looks at him. He's like, no, this chest. And they're like, oh, that chest. Yes, this chest. And I was like, screw that chest. Go back to the good looking one.
It is a lovely pair, isn't it?
Nice and perky, nice and juicy. Never mind.
So the altar boy gives gifts to everybody. Most of them to Stan, because he's the next Van Helsing in line.
So he gives them
a leather coat.
A leather. No. I have one of these. Mine is black and not brown like his, but it's not a leather coat. It's a duster. Oh, it's a duster.
Yes, that's it, duster.
And because I have one of these, he gives him a ancient scroll. And then he gives him a water gun with holy water in it, and he gives ex-girlfriend this mask that will alter her perception of what she sees, and he gives the blonde, my favorite, these high heels of exotic footwear, and she's like, the stripper, like what she say, like the stripper shoes. 3,000. I've wanted this for Christmas. And then he gives Teddy another burger, and he's just like, one last thing of product placement.
And like Teddy's like, oh yes, I got something good. Like the priest wasn't being mean, but he was kind of picking on him, and he finally threw him a bone.
It was so good. And then like randomly, Stan is like, what if we wait out the night here and call a cab in the morning? And like the altar boy gets so offended, he's like, how dare you deny the important role that has been given to you? Now get out and go do your job. And it just throws them out. And it cuts to like one of my other favorite scenes of this movie, and I was just like, this is me and Uzumaki to a T.
Yep, the vampire strippers.
So they're walking and all of a sudden they come across like these three sexy vampires in like a window in a building, only like there's no glass, so they get out and they're like surrounding them, and like Stan and Teddy are like, dude, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Fantasy segment. And then he just cuts to them at a strip joint with these three chicks, and they're like doing all this stuff and like giving them money and all that. And like Decker pointed out, like, wow, these guys really are cheapskates. They're giving them $1 bills. but there's just I was just like watching this. I was like, this is us, and I'm like, uh-oh, excuse me for 5 minutes. but and apparently these are the brides of Dracula, but we never see Dracula in this movie.
Do you want to say when the fantasy ends, or can I say it?
You go ahead, do it.
So they're having a good time, and like and Stan basically says something along the lines of like, yeah, Stan Helsing is having a good time, and one of the brides is like, wait, don't you mean Van Helsing? Like, no, I mean Stan Helsing. And they leave all disappointed. Like, they just drop, the vampire brides just drop what they're doing.
And leave.
And they leave.
They just
and
leave.
All upset. It's like Teddy's all upset for obvious reasons. He's like, dude, the next time, like when a stripper asks you if you are Van Helsing, you say you're Van Helsing.
and and then like they turn around and like their girlfriends are right there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're just doing some recon." Yep. They're looking up at like the roof, and they're like, "That's a 2x4. No, that's not. That's a 2x32." Like, okay, and this is where they end up running into Jason, the Jason character, right?
Yeah, they like they exit the fantasy, just walk a few steps, and then they see hockey player Jason.
Oh gosh. So at that point, he chases them into this house, and they're board themselves up in a room, and they fall asleep. And then it cuts to the next morning, and they're walking around the house, and like, I had such a great night's sleep. Well, the Freddy knockoff is in there, and like, he literally like jumps out and like has this huge oversized comical hand, a cartoon style hand. And he's like, "Can you say bitch slap?" And just slaps them all in like a huge row, like Three Stooges style. And then it cuts to them immediately waking up with all of their hands on their cheeks. And then the blonde is in another new outfit, and it's just a sexy nurse outfit with a pink wig. And they look at her, they're like, "When did you change outfits again?" And she's like, "In my dream."
Oh, God.
I was just like, gimme, yeah.
So after that, Stan tells everybody, "Okay, we can't sleep, otherwise he'll have a chance to kill us." And they try to get the resources together, see what's up, and supposedly knockoff Jason is standing right outside with Stan looking out the window. Stan's all fed up at this point, breaks off a piece of the bed to use as a weapon, jumps out the window for emergency exit only. Shame on you.
Yeah, the glass of the window is literally saying in a big red letters, like in a airplane or something, says emergency exit only.
So, like all fed up, Stan like climbs out the window, climbs down like from the roof in the house, and like marches up to knock off Jason, and like starts wailing on him. It's like, "Nobody messes with me and my friends." Gets a few hits in, but it turns out that's not knockoff Jason. That's just like a goalie from like the local hockey team. I don't know if it's a missed opportunity or if it would be just as funny. In this instance, it was just like grade schoolers or middle schoolers. He just got back from like a hockey game. It's like, "Hey, he's beating up our friend." They go chasing after him. I'm kind of wondering, would it have been funnier if they were like a grown-up hockey team? Would it be just as funny, less funny?
No, because then we wouldn't have had the soccer mom coming out there with them.
Oh, I didn't see the soccer mom. Yeah, he's like the poor kid, like he's banged up, but he's otherwise all right. Like you see him going like, "Ooh, ow," like still in pain, and like Stan's trying to get away, but you can tell like the hockey kids are like getting a few good hits in, and like when he climbs into the window, they're still like throwing gear, like the hockey pucks or the ball or like the rubber balls that they use instead of hockey pucks. They're even throwing the sticks at the window. And Teddy's all like, "Way to go, Stan! Not only did you have the killer, like not only, I mean,
it's better enough that we had one killer hockey player after us. Now we got a whole team."
Yes, that's it.
And this is where like, I forget how they got there, but like it seems like they just walked in like, a few feet and stumbled into a gay porno. Because that's literally essentially what happened. Really? I'm going to have to be the one to cover this scene? Okay.
No, I'll do it. Not for those reasons, you pervert. like if you like that stuff, that's on you.
I was thinking like,
because
I was like building up to like the whole joke. Like I was building up to the whole joke of like, who else but Wild Man?
If I killed the joke, I apologize.
You're fine.
Basically, what happens is like the crew is trying to like find another way out of the house, and then suddenly, bam! Gay porno. Like they don't show anything, but like you see like the lights and the stage, and like
the awkward dresses. Outfits, I mean.
They leave stuff to the imagination, but you basically know what's up. Like even the porno set is like themed because there's a guy dressed like Frankenstein's monster, and I don't know what he's doing. He's just like,
I think he's getting his pole polished. We just don't see much of it, but like, cause of how he's reacting and all that, and like, the one of the guys goes like, "Oh, his dick screen."
So anyway, after that awkwardness,
you're like, I don't know how to respond to that, dude.
After that awkwardness, the director calls cut. At first, it looks like he's playing the scene off as normal. And he's like, "Hey, wait, what are you guys doing here? What are you doing on my set?" And like Stan's trying to tell him like, "Oh, well, like, oh, weren't they just trying to just get rid of those videos?" Because that is brought up in that scene.
Yeah, like he's trying to figure out where he's supposed to deliver them because he's supposed to deliver them to his boss's mom. And they look through the videos and they're all gay pornos. They're all like looking at him. His friends are looking at him. He's like, I didn't know. I'm just delivering them. I didn't look at them. And like they just take them and then kick them out.
I think the reason why they were kicked out was like not because they had that stuff. I think it's because the director, he didn't see any of his work in the bag. I don't know. maybe I'm reaching, but
because like for many years I thought that was like him actually delivering them to where they were supposed to go, but then we saw the end of this movie. I was like, I don't remember this ending, so like I feel like for like the versions that I've seen, they cut off that ending and it just ended with the driving away in the cab.
Away scene.
Yeah. So like that whole other part was like brand new to me.
Okay, so like I guess what you saw was the theatrical cut for the longest time. And we saw the extended cut or something.
I guess. I don't know.
So after they get kicked out, what happens?
They end up at the town square essentially, and they're like, well, what are we gonna do? Like, who are we gonna call? And Blondie says, well, we could use that station phone to call for a cab. And they're like, what station phone? The one at the center of town. and
another favorite scene of Wildy's.
This is probably my all-time favorite scene of the whole movie. But the ex-girlfriend, the brunette, just looks at her and just like, ah, it makes that noise. And then the Stan just like starts blowing in the blonde's ear, and then with his other hand lifts up her hair to like make it look like there's nothing inside her head. It's just going straight through it. And to prove his point even more, she's just like, what's that? Do you hear that? I don't know where they got this chick, but I was like, I love her. Give her now. And that's saying something, because I don't usually go for blondes.
What part of the movie showed why Stan and Nadine broke up? Like after he gets zapped on the electric fence.
Oh, we forgot all about that scene. I don't even remember where that scene was. Go for it. Well, Go for it.
Like we said, sorry again for the disjointedness. That's like the best and worst thing about this movie.
It's so sensory overload that you forget where some events take place.
I don't know where scenes begin and where they end.
Mm-hmm.
For anyone wondering why Stan and Nadine broke up, long story short, it's like he's like, you said it best.
The ultimate definition of a hipster, what hipsters strive to be, a super hipster, essentially. Mm-hmm. He transcends. No hipster can become as hipster as him. So they're in this restaurant, which is essentially their last date, and which leads to their breakup. And he's talking about all this the kind of hipster stuff like you would expect. Like, I just feel like, expressing myself with this grunge music that never really got the chance to mature, and he catches a fly in midair. She's like, how did you do that? He's like, I don't know. I've been able to do that stuff ever since I was like a kid and all. And he's like, order up. And like, oh well, that's us. So I'll go get it. You know, since you paid and all. And I'm like, you douchebag. But okay. So I am the kind of guy that first date I will pay. I will pay for dinner. I will pay for whatever I can. After the first date, depending on how much I like the chick, like 2-3 dates in, but like after the first date, it's fair game. Like if we're going out to do stuff, like, and this is me and my ex-girlfriend's thing all the time. If we went to dinner and a movie, we would alternate who pays for what. I would pay for tickets, she would pay for refreshments, I would pay for dinner, and then we would switch it up where we did the opposites. So like, no one is paying for all just one thing. And I think that women that expect that are retarded, because that's unreasonable. Because men aren't made of money. Moving on.
And we know women aren't either. We're just being real.
Yeah, it's people. So it's called a relationship, ladies and gentlemen. In relationships, it's give and take, share and share. But anyway, so like he goes to get the food, and like as he's getting the food, this dude is pulling a gun on the cashier. He's just walking away with the food. A baby falls over in a high chair, and he just steps over the baby. Another guy is choking, and he's pointing to his mouth, trying to get him to do the Heimlich. And he's like, "No, this is my food." And then he walks away, and then another guy is catching on fire from like a flaming shish kebab or something. And he's just walking past, and like, he gives his girlfriend her food, and he starts to eat his food, and he's like, what? And then she's like, I think we should see other people. And he just looks at her and goes like, who are you banging?
Thank you very much, Waldy.
And now we're back to the scene that Decker got confused earlier. This chase scene is very much Scooby-Doo-esque. Like, there's, like, you play Benny Hill music over it, and it fits perfectly. Like, they're chasing each other back and forth, and at fast forward speeds, and on bikes, and scooters, and what's the thing where it's like a skateboard with a handlebar?
Oh, like the, like, it's like a scooter, but it's technically another thing.
Yeah. It's literally like a small skateboard with a handlebar to steer. But you use your foot to.
But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're all on those and all that. But I forget what they're called. But then Leslie Nielsen to the rescue, and he shoots up a shotgun. And he's like, now we'll settle this like we do everything else in this town with karaoke. And then he's like, okay, here's the rules. If the monsters get one song, Stan and his friends get one song. If the monsters win, they get to kill Stan. If Stan wins, they get to go home, and the monsters are banished, never to bother this town again. Simple and sweet. So the monsters play their song, and they're like, which is called Kill Stan or Kill Stan. They're all up in like different outfits together, and they're like, it's a parody of YMCA by the Village People.
Hey, Stan.
And then Stan and his friends go up, and I don't know what song, if it was an original song, or if it was someone else's song, or if they're parodying another song. I don't know. It's literally just like...
Here's what they're doing.
Okay.
What Stan and the group are singing, I Just Want to Go Home.
Mm-hmm.
Based off the song I Don't Want to Go Home by Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like it's a parody song. They're trying to have a good time. They're trying to go to their party, but now they just want to go home and get away from all this mess.
And so what happens is they finish their song, and it's up to a vote by the townspeople. And they say, who thinks Stan gets to win? Everyone screams and cheers and all that. And then they're like, who thinks the monsters should win? Crickets. And then like they're like, start to attack Stan, and they're like, no, wait, we want fair and square. It's like, there is no fair and square. And Freddy Krueger parody, like, slashes Stan across the chest, and he's like, ow, that hurt. His shirt's just ripped just in his chest section, and you get to see, like, the VH birthmark, essentially. And they're like, oh! And the monsters are, like, freaking out. They're, like, on the verge of panicking and worrying.
He is a Van Helsing.
And then the scroll that he's like, oh yeah, the scroll, and he starts to open it up and look, and he's like, did y'all see some of the symbols that are on there?
Yes, there was like you had your typical symbols like the onks.
There's some boobs, there's some butts, there's essentially some penises, but there's also wiggling sperm in the symbols. I don't know if y'all saw that one.
I didn't see that one. I just saw the TNA.
But like, they're on top of each other, going opposite directions. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, this movie's hilarious.
I want to say the line, like, this is just a joke, isn't it? I was like, man, I was expecting a clue. No, you're both right. It's both a joke and a clue. I think I can read this. And apparently it has that scroll of nonsense tells the weaknesses of all the monsters that are here.
The first monster he takes off. Okay, so he goes over to a pole and takes the whip off of it, because this bar is kind of like how Crackle Barrel is. There's just all kinds of old antique and trinkets and all that nailed to the walls. And he just grabs a whip, and like Blondie just like steps up and is like, okay, I don't see how this will help, but all right. And like she starts to like turn and like bend over, and like then she just kind of looks at him over her shoulder, and she's like, oh, not me, okay. I was just like, I want to have a night with this woman. I'll admit.
She may not be the brightest, but she sounds so fun.
she sounds so fun, and I like fun. But at this point, Freddy Krueger's essentially on his knees, practically groveling. All right, and and like he throws the whip at him, and like grabs his like gloved hand and like yanks it off, and he's like, it shows like a hand that's all glittery and like full of like gay rings or something.
Basically.
And like he's like, and like covers it off and like covers it up and just runs out of the bar. And like
like some of the people actually laughing at it. It's like,
yeah.
What a wuss.
And like Needlehead comes up, he's like, I have no weaknesses. And like Stan just like grabs, like puts his hands on top of all the needles on his head and like pushes in, and like he essentially melts like the Wicked Witch of the West. And then what is it? It cuts to Michael Myers and
Jason and Michael Myers.
And Michael Myers just kind of like elbows Jason a little bit. And Stan just walks up to him and they're like, you two actually have the same weakness. And like just he like grabs their mask, Jason's, and like stretches it and like and lets it hit him in the face, and then like turns Michael's mask the wrong way to where he can't see, and then just like kicks them out of the bar. And then with the Leatherface knockoff, like he's just like, I'm gonna switch this thing to shred, and like it reveals that like the girlfriend unplugged it, and she goes like, I guess nobody's getting blown tonight. and like he just flips his lid and like runs out of the bar. And then the best part is like Chucky like walks up, he's like, well, what's my weakness, pretty boy? And like Stan has my reaction, he's like, you're a doll. Teddy just grabs him and like they football him, and like Stan just punt kicks him out of the bar. And like they win. Like the funny thing is when the very first time I saw this movie, I read the description, much like with my experience with Teeth. I read the description and thought this movie was something completely different, but unlike Teeth, I actually enjoyed this movie.
And so that scene ends with monsters defeated, everybody cheering as a reward and as a symbol for finally accepting his destiny, Stan is given basically a fedora, much like his ancestors before him.
And as a thank you, Stan kisses Leslie Nielsen, old romantic style, where like bend over together and then stand back up. Like Leslie Nielsen's all like flabbergasted, like, oh my goodness.
Like freak.
And then so they get into the cab. The ex-girlfriend is like putting the mask back on. She's like, so does it change my look? And like Teddy's like, I think he meant it changed your perception on what you look at, or it changes the way on how you look at things. And all of a sudden, just she looks at Stan, and like he's like all of a sudden just standing in front of like the crop field behind him, and like the wind blowing in his hair, and like he's all looking like all sexy like Fabio.
And yeah, like Uzumaki, we pretty much all agree, but Uzumaki was the one who said, what's his name? Steve Howie. If Steve Howie really wanted to, he could have played a legit Van Helsing.
Like if they wanted to do this movie as like a legit serious movie and have Steve Howie do it, he could have played and looked the part of like a legit Van Helsing descendant. So like it just cuts back to her, and she's like biting her lip, and she's all flustered, and like she gets out, and Stan gets out. They both get out of the cab. I'm thinking of what's coming up next.
Stop the car.
But like she just immediately like just jumps in and kisses him, and they're like kissing, and like you see the camera spin around them. They get in the front seat of the cab with the cab driver, so it just leaves Teddy and Blondie together, and like all of a sudden she's like, so you want a lap dance? And he's like, shoot, I was going to ask for a kiss, but let's get right to the lap dance. Let's go. And my first thought was like, yeah, that's kind of like me. Just skip all the mumbo jumbo and get to the action. That's kind of
Let's get to it.
So in the theatrical cut, apparently, this is where the film would end with
every other cut of the movie. This is where the film ends, and then it cuts to the credits and the bloopers. Apparently, this version, and I don't know what cuts there are of this, if this or what, but no, this movie goes on. It cuts back to Stan in at his job, and he's like watching a movie while at the front desk, and like his supervisor tells him like, yeah, you're gonna have to explain to the boss why the packages were never delivered. And he's like, oh man, do I? He's like, yeah. So like they go in front of the boss's office, which apparently is right next to the women's bathroom, and so like the supervisor goes like, good luck, Stan. I hope you still have a job. And like as he says that, the giant roach from the beginning of the movie pulls him into the bathroom and starts doing something to him. And then like Stan's just kind of standing there looking and starts to walk off. And then what does he say? Like, it wasn't here we go again, but something along those lines. And then he just shows him like starting to go into the bathroom and then cuts. And that was Stan Helsing, man. And like, so at the end of this movie, Uzumaki had his hands over his face, leaning forward, and was just laughing so hard.
Yep, I was.
Oh my gosh! So, what did y'all think about this movie? Is it?
I'll let you go first, Decker.
Is it? Where are we putting this movie? Wild side, rambunctious side, tame side, walk away. That's a new ranking system that I'm introducing.
Okay.
Wild side for sure.
Yeah, I'm torn between wild and rambunctious. Like, mostly because, like, yes, it is crude. Yes, it does. They could have crossed the line. And maybe they did a couple of times, but they like held back.
Not that Michael Jackson joke, though.
No.
Oh yeah.
We left that out for a reason.
I'll just man up. Yeah, this is definitely a wild side. Like, they could have easily gone like overboard. This is definitely Scary Movie 1 and 2 quality.
I agree.
I liked all the characters. Everyone had pretty good performances, from our heroes to the monsters and even the townsfolk. There were some dumb jokes here, but they were like overtaken by the better jokes. And before I forget, like I can understand this movie wasn't like say didn't get like a lot of rewards, but according to Wikipedia, the most trustworthy of sources, Stan Helsing was panned by critics.
Oh,
Like,
gee, I
apparently it
wonder
has-
why.
And it was like on Rotten Tomatoes, another trustworthy source. It has a 14% rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. I do not agree with that. Like I admit I don't always like crude movies. The majority of scary movies and there are like other stuff I could pass on it aside from a few individual stuff. This movie, like I was laughing so much. Yes, there were some crude stuff, but everything else was like played to their strengths. They knew when to like hold back, but also when to turn to 11. In a standard rating, like say A to F rating, I would give it a C. It is not an F, like apparently the reviews or like critics say. I can understand if you don't like it, but it is not. It deserves better than that. So I'll just finish by this. It's worthy of the Wildside podcast slogan. For bad movies get the love they deserve.
I
All
love
right,
you
now
right
I'll
now.
stop interrupting you, Uzumaki.
Well, no, I was letting you finish. So that you shared your thoughts first, because you had a lot more to say.
Yeah, like it. I mean, I'm not going to pretend it's the greatest movie ever, but it's certainly not the worst. A strong C.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna rank it from stars. So this one for me, I'm gonna give it like 2 stars, but I wouldn't say it's like the worst movie I've ever seen.
Wait, hold on. I already gave the ranking. Wild side, rambunctious side, tame side, walk away. Those are the rankings of this podcast.
No, I'm just saying for me, like
Okay.
how I would in terms of like if I were to say like stars like 1 through 5.
But those
For
aren't
me
how we
personally,
rank stuff.
Well, here's the thing. I would personally.
He's like, here's the thing, Wild Man, shut up.
You just dropped it on us, Wildy.
Don't.
You can't expect us to like be adjusted just like that. You gotta give us a.
Yes, you
some
can't.
warning.
No, okay.
So
But then again, you wouldn't be the wild man if you gave us a heads up, now would you?
Spontaneous is my middle name.
Okay, I'll say this. I
I'm
know it
sorry.
was not meant to be taken seriously. Like, it's definitely true. Like, everything we described, the acting, the storytelling was purposely not so good. Yeah, this movie has every problem you can think for a disaster movie. It's definitely got that. It's got some of the toilet humor. It's got some of the rambunctious jokes, the sex jokes, the puns. Everything you can think of is in this film, and that's its intention. So, I don't think that it's necessarily the worst movie because it was intended to be like this. But in terms of, did I enjoy it? I would say if I was watching it by myself, no. But, you know, if I'm watching it on a Saturday or Friday night with the dudes and we're having a movie night and we're just having a bro night, like, this is definitely the perfect movie to watch. And I won't lie, I did have fun with a lot of the humor because of how ridiculous it was. It's one of those movies where I can, like Scary Movie, where I can just laugh at. Now, I would say that I enjoy watching it if I'm with people around me. So that's my review on it. Or my thoughts on it. Correction.
So, would you say it's wild side, rambunctious side, tame side, or walk away?
Wild side.
Wild
Sure.
side.
It's on
Okay.
the wild side spectrum, where it's so batshit crazy to the point where I'm going to say, okay, this is definitely a wild man film. This is on the wild side. It fits that title. Movies that are so bad and they get love. on this channel.
Yeah, this is a wild side for me. This this movie has a great sense of humor. I would say it is in terms of the crudeness, it is much cleaner than any of the scary movies or any of those kind of movies. It is much cleaner than even the first two. Of all of those kind of movies, this is very much the cleanest. But that doesn't mean that it still has those fingerprints in it. But it is very fun. It's very entertaining. And some of the stuff will just surprise you to the point which will make you laugh because you aren't expecting these things to happen. And I just love that blonde. And I would love to see the guy that played Stan Helsing play an actual legit Van Helsing descendant, because I would love to see him do that. I think he could. This movie is just a blast to watch, and it is an even better blast to watch with a group of friends. It's a great shut your brain off and have a great time kind of movie, and it definitely has some of my type of sense of humor in it. But yeah, this is a wild side for me. And I think you should give it a shot too. I think that does it for us then, doesn't it?
Yep.
Yes, it does. Very fun. Thank you as always for having us, Wild Man.
It's a pleasure to have you guys. And remember, everyone, walk the wild side safely. Just because you're walking the wild side doesn't mean being stupid. Thanks again and have a great night. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So y'all say something right now, please.
Something.
You know what, right, you smart aleck.
I mean, are we coming in loud and clear?
I don't know. Let me put it back on. Now y'all say something.
Are we coming in loud and clear?
You are. What about you, Tony Aleck?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, and it's picking all of us up. Well,
oh, sweet.
I guess I can't be too mad about that. Now you know what? Screw it. I won't worry about it. Because we got this movie to do. Hi. Hi, I'm the Wild Man, and I'm pissed.
Not because of the movie.
No, the movie we just watched was great. No, I'm pissed because our Silent Hill review didn't pick up my mic at all. So 3 hours down the drain. Oh my gosh. Technically, it's more like 5 because we had to watch the movie and then record it. So yeah, that's 5 hours of my life I'll never get back.
Well, at least if and when we redo the podcast for Silent Hill, at least we could finish it a bit quicker.
Yeah, that's true. And who's to say we can't do Silent Hill 1 and 2 out of order? So there you go. We can totally do that, and that would be right up my alley anyway, because I'm an impatient prick.
Impatient. No, I can't do the butcher thing, no.
Yeah, you better not. Although I have several people at work that are huge fans of the boys, but I don't want that kind of language on my podcast.
Well, I also don't want you to get demonetized.
You're so sweet.
You know what? Screw it. I'll get you demonetized. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought you liked me. Not that much. No.
Like, not that much. Come here. You look cute tonight. Did you do something with your hair? Did you trim your beard? I do that too well.
Oh, is that a new outfit? It looks so pretty on you.
I'm just gonna spruce you up a little bit and put some spice to your wardrobe. It's gonna be great. And just put these in like a series of like outtake compilations. People will be like, "The frick." So I'll plot crunch this movie. This movie's about a group of people. I'll plot. Get it together, dude.
I am so sorry. I guess I'm more out. Like I'm not. Don't worry, I'm not falling asleep or anything. But I'm more out of it than I thought.
This one's going to be a challenge.
Let me get back to summarizing like the first segment of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that'll get me to focus.
And remember, this is a parody, so you don't have to be super serial.
No,
yeah,
of course
and
not.
also, Decker, you could also go on the Wikipedia page when it comes to the plot summary. They actually do a good job.
Shut up! They have a Wikipedia page.
Yep. It's bare minimum, but like it's better than nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Like, do you know how crazy this film? Well, of course it is because you've seen it many times, probably.
Yeah, the Wikipedia page doesn't do it justice.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm not like relying on it.
I have seen this movie several times, just not in a while, but it stuck with me.
Anyway, she first pulls out the flashlight because Teddy left his phone in the bar, and it's too dark to see anything. And when they turn on the flashlight, that
I got
Mia
the whole
had.
thing out of sequence. Wow, way to go, me. And as a thank you, Stan kisses Stan Lee. Yeah, right. Leslie Nielsen. Go for it.
Oh, I thought you were being legit, or
Hey, if you said you wanted to do it, fine.
all right.
I was going to do it, but you volunteered.
How do I get myself wrapped up into these things? You're lucky you're my friend.
Okay, no, do you want me to do it? Because I'll do it.
No. Okay, how's this? We'll do like rock, paper, scissors. Whoever wins goes.
Okay.
All right.
1, 2, 3. I got rock.
I got paper. I got paper, so I got you, man.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, like I don't know. I guess they're trying to sneak out.
I think
like,
I don't know what's worse. We couldn't decide who was going to do the gay porno scene, or that we were fighting over who was going to go do the gay porno scene.
It wasn't so much fighting as like I thought. Well, if you want to, no, like you jump
I'm more than willing to. No, I'm more than willing to. Tony's Tony's too quiet. What's he doing?
He's like, I'm surrounded by idiots.
I really wish Mark was here because it would have been so funny.